What we hoped and believed would happen to us, what really happened to most of us.
Surgery is just one tool. It's time to put the other tools in the toolbox because it's your body, your health, your life.
What we hoped and believed would happen, what happened to most of us. All of us have regrets at some time or other. Regrets like, maybe I shouldn't have stayed in that relationship, or maybe I shouldn't have bought that, or, oh, that does not match together. For some of us, getting bariatric surgery was a big regret, and now we're caught up in this negative self-talk loop. We find ourselves saying, I could have, I should have, I would have. Are you stuck in the regrets of having weight loss surgery, or as some would call buyer's remorse? First of all, no, you're not alone. Sometimes the negative voice lasts a few hours, maybe a couple days, but for some of us, it lasts for years. The hard truth is, weight loss surgery is not a fast pass to thinness. It takes mindfulness, habit changes, hard work, and consistency. No one gets a free pass. This video is part one of a two-part series where we're going to talk about 5 big regrets some of us have about weight loss surgery and how to overcome them. The second part is going to be about bariatric mindset, how we can overcome excuses and regrets. Stay tuned so that you can overcome some of those regrets and start moving forward. Now let's talk about the 5 biggest regrets some of us have after bariatric surgery. The big one, of course, is complications versus side effects versus those big body changes. Now, when we talk about complications, of course, this is one of the biggest fears and can be one of the biggest regrets following weight loss surgery. Now, complications, serious side effects, usually is because of one of 2 things. One being, as patients, our responsibility. Maybe we didn't follow the directions, maybe we didn't adhere to the rules, and now we're kind of experiencing a complication or a side effect. The other situation is due to the surgery itself or the post-operational plan. Now, if it's due to the surgery itself, it is rare. It's only 1% of all surgeries done that people do suffer serious complications. But for the people that do are part of that 1%, it is super scary, and it takes a lot of effort and working with your bariatric team to, if possible, correct some of those things. If you stumbled across this video and you are considering having surgery and you're kind of thinking, oh, do I do this or not? What I'm going to tell you here is, please make sure you do your research. Research your bariatric team, research your procedure, know what you're getting into, know the potential complications, side effects. Ask all the questions, make sure you get the answers. Don't just blindly go into having the surgery without doing your research. This is a life-altering event that you need to be super prepared for. If you've already had the surgery and you are experiencing either complications or serious side effects, I implore you to keep working with your bariatric team, or if you're not confident in your bariatric team anymore, get a new one. Check into alternative treatments, ask the questions, get to the answers, seek help, do what you got to do, and don't stop advocating for yourself. I am not a doctor, I am not a bariatric surgeon or professional, but in my opinion, no matter what the situation is, if you are experiencing complications or side effects, you need to do everything you can possibly do to get that rectified for you so that you don't start living years going through a life of just chronic stress. You need to be able to get the help that you deserve. Talking about some of the side effects, maybe they're not serious complications, but we need to be aware. And sometimes we regret having surgery, especially at the beginning, because now we're experiencing all those pesky side effects like bloating, gas, belching, burping, sounds, really weird sounds. Some of us might have incision pain, muscle pain. We might experience nausea, just digestive situations and changes that every day might be something new. These are all side effects that for some of us are a lot, some of us are little, and most of us are kind of in between. But it's something to remember. You'll get through most of them, but sometimes you just got to understand what is your body doing, how to get through it, how to adapt. Then there's the big body changes like hair loss. Some of us experience GERD, heartburn, excess skin changes. A lot of bariatric patients suffer from gallbladder issues, changes in bowel movements, stomach ulcers. There's always, the vitamin deficiencies. So these are some of the bigger body changes that some of us do experience on some level, and it's something to be aware of and be prepared for. For some of us, we suffer from body dysmorphia. And what that kind of means, really generally, is that your mind has not caught up with your body. You're losing weight super fast. Changes are happening. For some of us, we've never even seen this version of ourselves. Things are happening fast. And sometimes our mind just cannot catch up with our body. Body dysmorphia on a really extreme level can lead to serious obsession about flaws, insecurities, and can really develop into depression and a mental health problem. If this is you, I do really empower you to find some professional help so that you can work through some of those things before it even becomes a bigger problem. The hard truth is, our body, our decision to make this life-altering change to our body does change our anatomy. And by changing our anatomy, things do happen to our body, and they just need time to settle, adjust, and for us and our minds and our emotions to kind of follow suit with our body. For most of us, these side effects do eventually go away or change, or we are just able to adapt to them now that we know. When you know, you know. But it's super important to stay involved with your bariatric team, ask questions, ask your support groups, but just understand it is your responsibility to be aware of what the changes are in your body and take measures to adjust or work with your team to understand what's happening here, and should there be a cause for concern. Why do we regret food? This is the whole thing, but think about it. We are eating less, we're eating differently, we're eating different foods, some of us experience different tastes now. And once our kind of appetite, for some of us post-op, and our appetite returns somewhat to normal, that's when it gets super hard and our regret around food is increased. For some of us, even food, we have no interest at all in food anymore. And that can be, life is usually about foods in some way, even as bariatric patients. When you don't have any interest in food anymore, you don't enjoy it at all, that can make regretting bariatric surgery huge. I know for me, after bariatric surgery, my eyes are bigger than my stomach. My restriction will kick in. So even now, more than 2 years post-op, I still want to have more, but my restriction will tell me. And so I kind of regret that. I regret, I kind of mourn the days where didn't have to worry about that. For some of us, I know myself included, binging was a kind of an escape. It allowed me to release some of my emotions or release some of the anger. Our relationship with food changes after bariatric surgery. It's like having a bad breakup or a divorce or death. The hard truth is, our relationship with food has changed. And if it hasn't, then our old behaviors will start creeping up. And for some of us, we just didn't think this is what we were signing up for. Number 3 big regret is our expectations do not meet our reality. We have to remember that weight loss surgery is a journey, but we end up comparing ourselves to others. We even define our success on other people's expectations, and that can even include our bariatric team, our surgeon, our expectations from family members, what we read and see on social media. Those are all kind of expectations, even strangers we put on ourselves that maybe might not meet or match our reality. We have to remember that plateaus and stalls are super normal. It's what happens after having weight loss surgery. But if we go on weeks on end and we don't see any progress, we can start regretting having our surgery. We just have to remember that there are lifestyle changes we have to make. And the hard truth is, we will not know our results until we're in the depth of the journey. What I mean by that is, I think we think it's going to happen this one way, but we will not know what our reality is and what our journey is going to look like and what the results will be until we're actually in the journey. One of the reasons why we regret our weight loss surgery is due to our magical thinking. I've heard people say this: I wish I never had this surgery. I am more miserable now than when I was fat. Many people go into having weight loss surgery with the thinking that once the surgery is finished, you're going to lose the weight fast, you're going to lose it forever, the struggle is going to end, and you're never going to have to deal with weight loss again. Many of us are not focused in the present moment. We find ourselves either in the past with our regrets, what if, or we're in the future with our unrealistic expectations. The hard truth is, to claim our life back from a life of obesity, we have to face ourselves head on. One of the biggest regrets many of us have regarding weight loss surgery is we regret not getting it sooner. Now, that's kind of weird, right? Being part of a regret, but I know for me, I did all the things. Trust me, I tried all the things to change my life, but it wasn't until I had weight loss surgery and made the connections of wellness, etc. But even though I'm super appreciative of having the surgery, I do regret not having it sooner. I feel like I lost time. I mentioned in other videos that I went at least 10 years without having any digital footprint of me anywhere. There's no pictures of me anywhere. So I'm very appreciative of the surgery and what I've done and all the hard work I've put into it, but I do have a regret of lost time. What is your biggest regret about having weight loss surgery? Put it down in the comments. Let's discuss some ways we can cope with the regret. Is it possible to look at the functional aspect of why we're feeling regret? Is there something we can learn from it? I think it's important to understand what regret is and be really super clear on what caused the regret. Is it the lifestyle change? Is it family? Is it external forces? Or is it just the weight loss? Regret, like other emotions, is a function of survival. It's our brain's way. It's telling us to take another look at the actions and see if those actions are going to lead to negative consequences. Regret can be positive. It is one of the reasons why an addict will choose to go into recovery. Ask yourself, what can you really do about the choice you made? Is it possible to have a different perspective about it? Try learning the lesson. What life lessons can we take away from this regret, and what can make us wiser? And remember, don't forget to apply what we've learned. If there's nothing we can really do, then we have to let it go. Find a way to forgive yourself and let it go. Now, sometimes we have to think about a loved one. What would we say to them? How would we forgive them? What actions would we take? Because it's easier sometimes to forgive others than it is to forgive ourselves. What would you do in that situation? And then try to apply it to yourself. Just make sure you're not taking too much of the blame. If you did make a quick decision, you need to kind of be able to let that go, because you made the decision under the circumstances that you were under. Maybe you were pressured, maybe you were under stress, maybe you thought this was the only decision you needed to make at the time. It's not worth your effort and your future success by just being stuck in blame. Try to reframe the situation more positively. Easier said than done, I get that. But if you can think in a different way, try to think more positively. Look at your weight loss journey as a journey. You're going to have ups and downs, you're going to have challenges. How can you meet those challenges and overcome them? Another way to kind of move beyond the regret is to build empathy for others. Volunteer, be of service, provide, give. And sometimes doing things for others can just help us get past our own regret. Other things to try are, write yourself a letter, let go of the regret by doing a ritual. For me in the past, sometimes some of my regrets, I would write them down in a letter and I would burn them. And by the action of burning them is my way of letting it go into the universe. So those are just some things to try to get beyond it. Be the you are proud of. Embrace your quirks, own your crazy, be so you that the other people around you feel so comfortable being around you. So, what does this have to do with weight loss, right? Well, it's everything. For a lot of us, before we went under the surgeon's knife, we didn't have months and months of counseling. We didn't have past meetings where we discussed in lengths the complications, side effects, changes, what we could do about those, what to look for. We didn't have the free gym memberships promised to us. We didn't have all the tools, strategies that we needed to really understand what this life transformative journey was going to be like. While we cannot change what's happened in our past, we do have the control and the choice on how our past choices can and will impact our present and future. Another way to cope with regret, if it's a huge regret and you can't get past it, is you need to get help. There's no shame in talking to a professional about our weight loss journey, even if you haven't gone through abuse or triggered with some trauma now that you are on your journey. It's helpful and a wonderful tool to ask someone to listen to you that isn't emotionally involved with you. You can vent frustrations, you can talk about your life, what that means to go from an obese person to someone who isn't. It's huge things that we are dealing with, and it's really helpful to talk to someone who can give us kind of a perspective that maybe we can't see. Yes, it is a lot of hard work. It is a life-changing event, but as we overcome the challenges, face our fear, work through our problems, we will gain self confidence and just know that we can overcome anything. Don't believe the people that say this is the easy way out. We know it's not the easy way out. That's just plain BS. We need to learn that our happiness is not directly tied to the weight loss. I get it. It can be super hard to pull away from those regrets, that feeling that we made a foolish decision, that what if thinking, what if I didn't have a surgery? What if I would have done this instead? All that, if we don't deal with that regret, can turn into or trigger long-term chronic stress. And regret and long-term chronic stress has negative impacts on both our body, our emotions, emotional state, and our mind. And if we don't deal with it, eventually it can impact our immune system, the way our hormones interact in our body, and it stops us from re-engaging in real life. And we aren't going to be able to rebound back from the stressful life events that just happen in our everyday lives. Now, don't forget to do part 2, bariatric mindset, how to overcome excuses and regrets. It literally will change your mind.